Meeting. We have a roll call.
Mrs. Elder. Present. Mr. Hauser.
Here.
Mr. Laser.
Here.
Mrs. Mays. Here. Mr. Moeller. Mr. Music.
Here.
Mr. Palmer.
Here.
Dr. Zorch.
Here.
Dr. Lockwood.
Here. We'll start with the solicitor's report. And I have no legislative reports since they're on in session. Westmoreland, are you, Mrs. Mays?
Thank you. It's my pleasure to introduce to the board Dr. Jason Conway. He's the executive director of the IU. He's been with us about a year and a half now, and he's doing an excellent job. And he's going to talk a little bit about what the IU will do for you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to present. As part of my goal with the WIU board is to visit each district throughout the county, 17. You are my fourth stop on the tour. We are selling tour t-shirts if you're interested in that. But really today I promised to talk for about 10 minutes. And the first 5 minutes I'm going to talk about IUs as a whole from a global standpoint. And then we're going to go down to a 1,000-foot view and look at WIU in particular. And so there are two handouts today. There's a pamphlet that was created by PAIU, which is the Association of Intermediate Units in Pennsylvania, as well as then a copy of talking points that I'm going to utilize as I go through tonight's brief presentation. So first and foremost, intermediate units were created in 1971 by the General Assembly, and within the law there's a number of different purposes or tasks that intermediate units were created to do. Not requiring all tasks, but providing kind of a menu of tasks to choose from. So depending on the geographical footprint and what their needs were, then each intermediate unit then created services to serve them. And so there are 29 intermediate units that are across the Commonwealth. If you turn to the back of your pamphlet, you'll see a map of Pennsylvania. And we have 29, 2 of which are city-based, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, so the district serves as its own intermediate unit. And then there are 27 others that are much like Westmoreland Intermediate Unit. Some have one county like us, some have multiple counties such as IU8, Erin, IU28, which is Armstrong in Indiana. And basically, intermediate units serve as the intermediary between the Department of Education and then the school district. So each intermediate unit then has a number of school districts that are members to them. Now, just so you know, in your pamphlet, you'll see the intermediate units serve over, have over 8,500 certified professionals throughout the Commonwealth, as well as thousands and thousands of students that we service from regular education as well as special education. It was in 2010-11 in which the General Assembly decided to defund the intermediate units in terms of providing not stipends, but monies towards the general operating budget. And so intermediate units had to respond and become very entrepreneurial. And so at one time, intermediate units kind of competed with one another. Not only did we provide services within our footprint, but we also then went outside of our footprint to then sell services, because the more revenue that comes in, then benefits then the member districts. However, it was very cutthroat, and so around 2008, the PAIU was formed. Well, it was formed earlier than that, but it began to really cooperate with one another, and today has become a true force in Harrisburg when it comes to lobbying PDE, as well as then our senators, as well as representatives. Give me a great point. This past budget year, which was a very tough budget year, it was PAIU that led the charge to get increases in early intervention programming funds. And so we spent a day on the Hill lobbying, presenting, and our own Brandon Minikonsky played a major role in having that funding increased statewide. Alrighty, so two main things I want to talk about at the higher level yet before we go into the specifics of WIU 7, and that is really intermediate units also create savings for districts and therefore savings for our taxpayers. And so how do we go about doing that? Well, intermediate units sometimes operate consortium purchasing programs. So for instance, transportation coming together and purchasing one large contract versus everyone trying to negotiate their own. Paper, natural gas, diesel, and the like. Also, other examples would be many IUs provide back office services such as payroll and the like. Also, we provide, intermediate units provide a lot of professional development to teachers and principals that districts on their own would be unable to do, and PDE, not having the staff that they once had, is unable to do. So it's intermediate units that can provide trainings for educator effectiveness and data governance and so on. And also it's important to know that intermediate units globally also increase student opportunities for kids because that's why we're all here. And so the ways in which we do that as IUs is we have gone into the area of online learning, and many of our IUs offer courses online, and I'm going to talk a little bit about ours here in a few moments. Also, intermediate units operate special schools. So for instance, we have our Clairview School that is for unique special needs students, as well as our Crossroads School, which is our alternative education, alternative ed for youth that may struggle in the general classroom in school districts. We provide services to then help students get back into the regular classroom by going through that program. And last but not least, statewide, also intermediate units are very, very heavily into early intervention programs that would serve kids from age 3 to school age. So in general, intermediate units do serve a purpose and continue to grow and grow and grow as a result of the decrease in capacity of the Department of Education. So let me talk a little bit about WIU and how Westmoreland Intermediate Unit is operated. And so we have 17 school districts. Our board is made up of one member from each school district. And so Mrs. Maines is our representative from Latrobe. And there are 17 school districts that are created. And since my arrival 18 months ago, can you believe it's been 18 months already, we've identified really 3 goals for the intermediate unit. And the first one would be, we are going to be the leading experts when it comes to the areas of curriculum, technology, infrastructure, human resources, and financial services. We need to be the go-to folks for the district when it comes to knowledge. Also, another one would be become a state-level player. The more we're involved in state-level initiatives, the more our districts will benefit. I'll give you a good example of that. Right now, it looks as though we're going to be hosting a student services conference, the statewide student services conference here in Greensburg, coming in October. We haven't ever done that before in this county, and so our districts will benefit from less travel, and also hopefully maybe they'll be willing to present and be more involved in that. Also, we want to be involved with state-level decisions when it comes to budget, initiatives at PDE, and so on. Also, our third goal is to really become a purposeful enterprise, an entrepreneurial enterprise for educational opportunities. How can we get more opportunities in front of kids to experience life and what they possibly could do when they grow up and be kids like us. And so, since I've been here, we've also identified 7 standards of excellence. Since we're IU 7, there are 7 standards in which we've identified, and that has become the basis of our evaluation system at the IU. And so everyone in our intermediate unit realizes these are the 7 things we need to have in place to make sure that our goals are going to be reached. So you're probably wondering, well, how are we organized? Well, we're organized by 5 divisions. So we have the executive division, which I lead, which also includes the HR services. We also have student services, and that's led by Dr. Shulo, who came on board approximately in April. Curriculum services is by Tim Hamill, who's been with the intermediate unit for a number of years, as well as Eric Vaughn, who's in charge of our technology and infrastructure services. And last but not least, we have Financial Services Division, and that's led by Lynn Liu, who's a recent addition, who comes to the IU with 28 years of auditing for U.S. Steel. So we have some high-power leaders leading our different divisions. So in terms of how big are we? Well, we have about 250 employees, and you can see the breakdown in terms of administrators versus support staff versus job coaches, and so on and so forth. Now, specifically within our divisions, a few things to highlight. We're best known in the state for providing special education services. However, it's much more than special education that intermediate units offer. So as you can see here from the list below, we have our own Clairview School, Crossroads. We provide itinerant services such as speech, vision, deaf and hard of hearing, vision. Also, early intervention, as I mentioned earlier. We also do provide district special education teachers, where districts would purchase teachers from us to provide special education. And that used to be the old model of the intermediate unit. And so IUs across the state have kind of gotten out of the business of providing that because districts are now taking back those classrooms, and therefore those kiddos being educated by district employees. We also provide a number of trainings through our training and consultation team. And that's actually a PD, and those are trainings based on PDE initiatives that is funded by the state and also the federal government. And that was one area that when I came on board was not being highly utilized within the county. And so that has become a very high priority for us to better utilize our TAC team, increase our offerings, and get as many people using those free services as possible. And Dr. Shula has done a great job doing that. And you probably didn't know, but we also serve the non-pub schools, such as the diocese, when it comes to providing services for professional development, guidance, and so on. The next division is curriculum services, and probably the biggest part of that division is carrying out the statewide system of support. PAIU as a whole negotiates with PDE for a statement of work each year. And then that statement of work then is consistent of the different PDE initiatives, such as educator effectiveness, data governance, standards-based instruction, and the like. And we then, as IUs, who are divided into regions as well, then divvy up the money to then, based on what our needs are and our district's needs are, and then we carry out those services from professional development, data analysis, curriculum writing, and so on. Probably most known for that is Tim Hamill and Cindy Schaefer, who have been longtime employees of the IU. Our next division, technology services, we develop application development. In fact, we have developed an application tracker. We're also working with a number of school districts, not just in our IU, but outside, with online form management, where districts will be able to then complete forms and sign forms without using paper, making it all electronic. And so that germinated out of our technology and infrastructure services department, or division. We also support networking, internet hosting services, as well as we provide support for the PIMS, or the data network, quality network, that the state, part of their initiative, the IU carries out the organization and coordination of that. And last but not least is financial services. And again, this is not all exhaustive, but these are just the highlights for all of these divisions. But our financial services currently provides payroll services to Jeanette, as well as Mount Pleasant, as well as doing our own intermediate unit. And as well, we also offer and organize the purchasing consortiums when it comes to paper and fuels and things like that. So in summary, as you can see, the intermediate unit is much more than just providing special education. We provide a whole host of services from curriculum, technology, executive services, and we hope to become and continue to be the go-to organization when it comes to problems that districts have, that we can be part of that solution. So I do appreciate your time today. I think it was 11 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm more than happy to take any questions that you might have. If not, I'll simply enjoy the rest of the board meeting like the audience. All right. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the next WIU committee meeting will be Tuesday, January 24th at 7 p.m. at the WIU boardroom.
May I just add one more thing, if I may? This will be real quick. In terms of how we're organized, we operate a $46 million budget, okay? Only $5 million of that $46 million is the general operating budget. It's the general operating budget in which the boards across the county vote upon. And so, just to kind of put it in perspective, really you're only voting for like 1/9 of the overall IU budget when it comes to its operations. And so, each district then contributes to the intermediate unit's general operating budget. Last year, we were able to decrease everyone's contribution, and if I am not mistaken, last year, minus of course what services that are purchased, Latrobe's contribution was $35,600, which was down from $46,000 or $47,000 the year before. So that fluctuates year to year, but just to kind of show you, just kind of the scope and the breadth of the intermediate unit, it's much more than just that general operating budget. So thank you very much. I thought that was an important part to the presentation. Now I'll sit down.
Sure. And continuing with education and planning, we'll begin there with the student report from Natalie Smith. Good evening, girls.
All right, I'll start with the report from the elementary schools. First up is the MLK Make a Difference collection that runs from January 3rd to the 13th and will be at all elementary schools. This is where they collect school supplies for kids in need, and the kids will have homework caddies that they'll be able to have at their houses. Then there's the Pittsburgh CLO Gallery of Heroes musical Steel that runs from January 17th to the 19th, and that is also for all 3 elementary schools. And then there's the 3rd grade art symposium that runs from January 23rd through the 26th and will be located in the CSC. And that is all. Thank you.
Well, Happy New Year, everyone. Excuse my attire, I had to come from practice. But to start with the junior high school report, the ski club in both the junior and senior high school were able to go on their first ski trip last Friday, January 6th. The junior highs began a new program. It's called the RISE program, and it's basically an incentive program for kind and generous acts. It's to promote respectful behavior, and it's also to give recognition to the kids that are continually respectful and kind to others, but don't get the recognition they deserve for it. There's a coding competition. Mr. McIntyre's coding students have all entered a coding competition, kind of to promote coding, and the competition is about why manufacturing is cool. And as all of you know, we have the Fab Lab, and I heard it was very successful, so in order to promote the STEM activities. And for the senior high school, there will be a bullying presentation, and it's called Sweetheart and Heroes Bullying Presentation, and it will be on January 25th. And then after the presentation, there will be small breakout sessions with students in smaller groups. The 9th graders visited EWCTC, which they do every year to get a feel for what their options are for high school. They will do that on January 24th, 25th, and 26th. The Sadie Hawkins dance is coming up on Saturday, January 21st from 7 to 10 p.m. in the Senior High Commons area. And the Wildcat Cabaret, I don't know if any of you attended, was on Saturday, January 7th here in the CSC. It was to benefit the Drama Club and their presentation of the Titanic. All right, that's all I have.
Happy New Year to you. Next on my agenda is the enrollment report for Mr. Brunke. Do you have any comment on that, Mr. Brunke?
I have no comment on the report, but I would just note that kindergarten registration will be beginning this month for the 17-18 school year. You must be 5 years old on or before August the 15th. You want to watch our website for online registration. And if you have any questions, please call 724-539-4293 for 2 members of the community that are here. and for the millions that are watching on Latrobe TV.
Thank you very much. And our next curriculum committee meeting will be on Tuesday, February the 28th, 5:30 p.m. here in the CSD. And that concludes my report today.
Thank you, Mrs. Haynes. Finance, Mrs. Elder?
Thank you. Next week, we will have the treasurer's report and payment of bills on the agenda. And Mr. Weston's going to tell us a little bit about the Act 1 resolution, which will be on the agenda next week.
Thank you, Mrs. Elder. The Finance Committee is recommending that we adopt the Act 1 resolution that basically states we will operate within the index. What this means is we cannot raise taxes above the index. We would not be able to file for exceptions. We cannot seek a vote or referendum. Not that that is, excuse me, been a very realistic option in the past, but we cannot do that. The index level is 3.2%. That sets a cap at 2.53 mils. That would generate about $854,000. So that's the recommendation we have for the full board. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Weston. And you will note on your agenda the information that the IRS mileage rate for 2017 is 53.5 cents per mile. And the Finance Committee meeting minutes are attached to your agenda. And the next Finance Committee meeting will be at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, February 1st.
If I could add one thing, I think also included on the agenda, and I apologize, my computer went to sleep, is approval of the audit report.
Oh, I forgot.
Unfortunately, Warner Live and Terry, who are local auditors, were unable to attend tonight, but they will be here next week to present the audit report. I put a copy of the audit at everybody's place. If you want to read through it, that's great. Just a couple suggestions, though. If you look at the very last few pages of the report, it talks about audit deficiencies and findings. And we've had no deficiencies and no findings, so we've had a clean audit once again. So we're very pleased with that and very proud about that. Also, at the beginning of the audit, there's a management discussion and analysis section on pages 6 through 14 that I kind of put a little narrative together that outlines the financial position of the district. So if you don't feel like reading all 70-some pages, which I completely understand, you might want to scan through those pages if you have any interest. And then the final point that I would make is on page 17 is our balance sheet. And a lot of times I make recommendations and suggestions to community members when they have any questions about the health or the status of the school district. I direct them to that page specifically. I think it's a very good snapshot of the position of our district. So if you're going to look at it all, those could be the sections that you might want to focus in on. But like I said, Barb Terrick will be here next week to present and answer any questions that you might have.
And the approval will be on the agenda.
And the approval will be on the agenda, yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Elder? Facilities Operations Plan, Mr. Howard?
On the schedule for the agenda next week will be approval of Part F form of the plan on process. And also the next facility operational planning committee meeting will be Thursday, February 2nd at the admin building on 10 a.m.
Mr. Howard?
Student activities and recreation, we have a basketball game going on now, and tomorrow is senior night wrestling. And then community relations, Dr. Dolch.
These are attachments from the Parks and Rec Commission meeting from last November, and then the next meeting is January 19th. They're at the municipal building at 4:30.
Thank you. WCTC, Mr. Mason.
I can't talk. The next EWCTC Joint Operating Committee reorganization meeting will be Wednesday. I'll give one more. Go ahead. Okay, next EWCTC Joint Operating Committee will be Wednesday, January 25th at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Board policies,
Yes, we have 4 policies to be approved on our agenda next week. They're available online. Thank you.
Technology, Mr. Palmer?
Thank you, Madam President. We We had a technology committee meeting this evening. The notes, meeting minutes will be attached to next week's information packet. And our next meeting is on March 21st here at the CSC at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Mr. Palmer, Superintendent's recommendations.
I would ask the board next week to approve resignations of the 3 positions that are listed: the assistant boys lacrosse coach, the softball first assistant, and the volleyball girls assistant, and then to approve 2 substitute teachers to add to our list, as well as to approve supplemental appointments: the softball head coach, Richard Kazusko, softball first assistant, Dana Manchinski, Courtney Spintola as the volleyball girls assistant, and Raleigh Zimmerman as the track assistant coach. Those are the personnel issues that we would ask to be approved next week. Under other business, our monthly Breakfast of Champions is Thursday, January 19th, next week at 7:30 here in the center, as well as Greater Latrobe is hosting the Westmoreland County Music Educators Association Junior County Band Festival, Saturday, January 21st, here at 2 p.m. in our high school auditorium. If you're able to attend, it's a wonderful showing of county talent in that area. Next week is our regular meeting at 7:30, and then our committee of the whole and regular board meeting in February is the 14th and the 28th. Please note, in February there is a week between the committee of the whole and the regular meeting, the second meeting being Tuesday, February 28th. And I'd just like to make a formal announcement to thank the 3 people who presented Monday at the conversation with the superintendent, Tony Marcacci, Ray Gapilka, I didn't say his name incorrectly, I apologize, and Tim Phillips, who were here speaking of the drug issue in Westmoreland County specifically. We appreciate their presentation as well as all of the people that attended.
Thanks everybody for your time tonight. This meeting is adjourned.